What if the map you see on your everyday studies isn't just a collection of borders, but a heat map of human endurance? Right now, as you watch this, millions of people are living in environments where the concept of tomorrow is a luxury. We aren't just talking about crime or high-risk neighborhoods. We are talking about systemic collapse, places where the social contract has been shredded and replaced by the raw mechanics of survival. According to the 2026 Global Peace Index, global conflict levels have hit a terrifying peak, with geopolitical fragmentation reaching levels we haven't seen in nearly a century. So today, on this episode of the Mega Brain Show, we are going beyond the headlines to explore the 5 most dangerous regions on Earth right now, tracing the invisible lines where politics ends and chaos begins. But before we start, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button while considering watching till the end. Everything you do to help the channel is really appreciated. To understand what makes a place dangerous in 2026, we have to look at the intersection of armed conflict, political instability, and humanitarian crisis. Experts don't just count bullets. They measure the positive peace rating, the strength of the institutions that prevent a society from spiraling into violence. When these institutions fail, we see a pattern of fragmentation where there's no longer a single government or a single battlefield. Organizations like ACLED and the UN now track gray zone violence, where the lines between civil war, terrorism, and state-sponsored aggression are blurred. In these regions, danger isn't an event, it's the atmosphere. It's the constant threat of displacement, the weaponization of food, and the total collapse of the infrastructure that keeps a civilization breathing. At number 5, we find Myanmar, a nation that has been in a state of nationwide fragmentation since the 2021 coup. By early 2026, the situation has escalated into a brutal stalemate. Over 7 million people are internally displaced, and the conflict has evolved into a war of 1,000 cuts, with pro-democracy groups and ethnic militias fighting the military in nearly every corner of the country. This isn't a war with a front line. It's a war of airstrikes and village burnings that has displaced 3 million Rohingya and forced thousands to undertake life-threatening journeys across the sea. In Myanmar, the danger is omnipresent because the conflict is decentralized. There is nowhere left to hide. Moving to number 4. The war in Ukraine continues to be the largest high-intensity conflict in Europe since 1945. As of early 2026, approximately 10.8 million people inside Ukraine require urgent humanitarian assistance. The war has forced 5.9 million refugees to seek safety globally, while another 3.7 million remain internally displaced. This conflict is uniquely dangerous because it involves the high-tech machinery of modern superpowers. 13% of the country's housing stock, over 2.5 million homes, has been damaged or destroyed. What makes Ukraine a global flashpoint is the constant shadow of nuclear escalation and the destruction of energy grids that leaves millions to face life-threatening winters in the dark. Ranked at number 3 is Sudan, which is currently the site of the world's largest and fastest-moving displacement crisis. Since the civil war between the SAF and RSF erupted in 2023, the country has descended into a humanitarian catastrophe of staggering dimensions. By early 2026, 33.7 million people, nearly 2/3 of the population, require assistance. Famine has officially set in, with over 21 million people facing acute food insecurity. In cities like El Fasher, the siege warfare is so intense that children are experiencing repeated bombardment, while basic services like water and medicine have simply ceased to exist. Sudan represents a total systemic collapse where more people are living in famine conditions than in the rest of the world combined. At number 2, Afghanistan remains a landscape of systemic silence. While large-scale conventional war has decreased since the Taliban's return to power in 2021, the country has become a vacuum for extremist groups. In February 2026, long-running tensions with Pakistan erupted into open conflict, leading to airstrikes on Kabul and Kandahar. This cross-border escalation has created new security vacuums where groups like ISKP thrive. Beyond the violence, the danger is found in the absolute erasure of human rights for women and the economic collapse that has pushed the majority of the population below the poverty line. In Afghanistan, the danger is not just a bullet, it's the slow, quiet disappearance of a functioning society. Finally, At number 1, we look at Syria and the escalating crisis in Gaza. Syria has endured over 15 years of civil war, with a death toll exceeding 400,000, and 7 million people still displaced within its borders. In early 2026, the mass escape of 20,000 IS-affiliated individuals from detention centers has reignited fears of a terrorist resurgence. Meanwhile, in Gaza, the death toll has surpassed 69,000, with 90% of the population displaced, many of them 4 or 5 times over. Famine was declared in August 2025, and by early 2026, the entire population is facing acute food insecurity. These regions represent the ultimate zero point of global danger, places where the infrastructure of life has been so thoroughly destroyed that survival becomes a matter of daily, statistical probability. Behind every one of these numbers is a human story that statistics cannot fully capture. Over 100 million people are currently forcibly displaced worldwide, the highest number in human history. This isn't just a series of isolated tragedies, it's a global symptom. These conflicts drive refugee flows, disrupt global economies, and create a cycle of trauma that lasts for generations. History has shown us that regional fires rarely stay regional. The question for 2026 is whether the international community can move beyond crisis management and begin the hard work of crisis prevention. Which of these crises do you feel the world is ignoring the most? Is it the forgotten war in Sudan, the fragmentation of Myanmar, or the systemic collapse of Afghanistan? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and thank you so much for watching till the end. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.